it's 6:30. I finished writing for the day. I honestly wasn't planning. I was gonna do some more reading at 6, and then I was just like, well, what if I just finish this scene? And so I did that, and it's going well. I kind of struggled a little bit with, because I already had this snippet that I had written when I figured out what I wanted the sort of tone to be, and like the sort of perspective and the tense. So I've got 1,703 words written so far. Although for some reason why but it's saying I have 1710, and I don't know why, because that definitely shouldn't, but okay. That is 1% apparently of my manuscript goal, which is kind of fun. Hitting a percent on, like, literally this is just the opening. But I think it's pretty good so far. I think that what I've managed, it kind of sets up these characters, who they are, the way that their life is, which is all that I want to do. I don't want to like introduce anything major. I just want it to be, these are who these people are, these are the main people in their lives, and this is what they do from day to day. So that when something then happens, it is like, okay, this is how they've been raised, and now all of a sudden this is what they're doing. I want it to be like a drastic change. I want it to be 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 a drastic. I want it to be a drastic change. I want it to be a drastic change. I want it to be a drastic change. So, yeah. But I'm pretty happy with that, and I think that considering I honestly feel rubbish today, like I could be worse, but also I just, like, I didn't think. After I woke up, I knew that I wanted to write, but I was expecting that it was going to be more difficult than it has been so far. So the fact that it isn't like that is good. But I think I'm going to read now. This is Save the Cat, which I'm reading to try and get better at, like, plotting. And it's been really nice so far, because my, like, plot that I already had, like, I can see the elements that it talks about in my book. So I think it's pretty good, but I want to basically just see where this goes and hope that this start is a good foundation for like being consistent with writing, because I don't know if I'm going to write every single day. I think that it would be nice to make sure that I'm taking breaks, so I might try and write like 5 days a week, but I want it to be consistent. I want to try and write more than I used to write when I write, which so far 1,700. My goal used to be 1,200. So I'm pretty happy with that if I can keep that up. But I just want to get back into writing again, because I've taken a break where I've been doing writing and I've been editing a lot, but I just haven't written as much as I did when I was doing draft 1 and draft 2, and then I was writing short stories a lot last year. So I've done a little bit of actual new writing, but I want to get back into it, and I think this is a good start. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it for the day, and hopefully that'll be okay. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna see. Tomorrow I have a slightly busier day, so I think that it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, now that I've kind of done the bit that I found really difficult, which was the opening, trying to figure out how to get some of the world building with some of the character introduction without being too exposition-y and without being too sort of clunky and it feeling not very me, that was really difficult. Writing like a conversation between them and getting some stuff in that way, that felt really good. I don't know how that obviously actually is. I think that I'll need people to read it before I know whether or not it was written in an authentic way. But I think for a first draft, all I kind of need now is for it to, just be moving, slowly but surely moving forward, a word at a time, and then that will be good. And I think tomorrow I have a video thing that I want to do with a friend. Not necessarily a video like a filming video, but I want to call a friend and play a game with her. And she might record that, I might record it, I don't know. And then I'll see after that. And also I have a walk that I want to go on with my mum. So I'll see if I have time. And I think it'll be interesting to see how I can go from having a day where all I do is write to a day where it's kind of like a background thing, and see what my word count is then and try and figure out what I should be aiming for as a daily word count based off of that. So yeah, especially because this novel is supposed to be longer than my other one because it's science fantasy, which is a longer word count. So, ooh, okay. So, it was pretty good actually in the end. I didn't do anything yesterday because the stuff that I had to do and like wanted to do, that went on longer than I thought, and then I was like, I wanted to read because I hadn't really read the day before because I put too much time into the writing. So basically I made the decision to just, rather than start and maybe do like 100 words, hi. Yesterday I didn't end up doing anything. So instead of doing that, okay, no. Okay, so yesterday I was supposed to try and write a little bit after I did my stuff, but my stuff all took a lot longer than I thought. Ended up just reading instead. I don't know, I feel like it makes sense that I would read and that I would, instead of like getting stuck into writing and doing like maybe 100 words, that I would put that effort into learning more about structure. Because I think that I work better when I have focus. But I just wrote about 1,000 words. Again, I had not even necessarily a busy day, but I like went for a walk yesterday and then today. And my main priority really was the walk and on. Okay, I'm gonna. Hi, it is not tomorrow, as if the last clip. Yesterday, which was tomorrow, I basically like didn't have any time. I did everything that I was supposed to do, and then I said, oh, I'll try and write and see how much I get done. Didn't happen. I had like some time where I could have written, but instead of getting stuck into writing for like less than an hour, I figured it would make more sense to read, because first of all I have like less than 100 pages now of this left. So in theory it's good to learn more about structure and about how to apply that, and it is in my head a bit more. Like, even just without thinking about it, I'm like, oh, this is that thing. So it's working. And I think it'll probably help because this book is so intensive. Like, today, I decided to do a bit of writing, and I also did a bit of The Sims because I just wasn't, like, I was eating food, so I didn't want to write while I was eating because I always forget to eat while I write. But if I load it, today I wrote like 1,141 words. I'm at 2%, I think almost 3% with the manuscript, which is great. I'm still on chapter 1, which I still haven't given a name, but I've written a lot, and I don't know how much of it's even gonna make it into the thing, but I've basically introduced the characters, which I'm pretty happy with those descriptions, as I said. I've started to go through a day that is typical for them. Like, I think because this world, it's set in the future, so I want it to be very clear what kind of technology that is, so that when these threats are introduced, I don't want it to feel like you're like, oh, is that normal? Is that, like, special? Like, is this villain special somehow? So I want to make that very clear, and I want to kind of show off who they are and the way that they are, and what their abilities are, like what they're good at, what they're not so good at. And I think that it's probably easiest to do that away from conflict, so that when there is conflict, they can act in a way that you understand, and then also maybe go against that by being like braver than usual, or by pushing too hard and you kind of are worried because you're like, surely that's going to have negative repercussions. I think that kind of thing is something that I can always clean up. Like, if I do too much detail now and it feels like really fillery, I can fix that later. But I would rather have it now and get to know these characters and have a base to work from. And I think that, especially because, like, when you think about percentages, it's like 5% is when that book says that you should be introducing, like, the theme being stated. And I feel like if the catalyst isn't happening until after 5%, I'm at 2%. I don't have to rush through. And if I decide later on, when the whole thing is finished, this is really slow, I'll change it. But that's kind of where I'm at. I think it's kind of difficult to do. I definitely want to keep working on it, and I think it's going to be a slow and steady kind of thing. But I think if I crank out a few Sims videos, that's something that kind of has been weighing on me, is that I need to go on The Sims and film myself building stuff and then edit that and post it. If I get a bunch of those out of the way, I might take like a day or two to do a bunch of videos for that. And then I think it'll be easier for me to sort of focus on writing again. Also, I have this book that I want to finish, and then after I finish that book, I have a fantasy book that I'm going to do, and I'm going to do a reading vlog for that, I think. And it's Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. It's the second book in the Farseer trilogy. And it's, I think, like 700 to 800 pages. So I want to do like that, read that, like sit down one day and spend the whole day reading. So I don't necessarily want to get into like the thick of writing when that happens. And then also I have, it's not an operation, but it's like a procedure that I have to go in for, and it's realistically that's going to be my day gone. So I need to be aware that I'm not going to be able, like, every day for the next few weeks to just sit down and constantly write, especially if I want to have like a healthy balance of everything. But I think that I also want to do another read through of the book that I'm querying, just because I like probably should, you know? I feel like if I leave it too long where I don't read it, I'm gonna end up hating that. I'm gonna end up being like, this is the worst thing ever, why did I send this off, and I'm going to regret that I sent it off, and then if I get to a point where I have to send more queries out and I haven't read it through. So I want to at some point also be doing that and working on mild edits for that, things like checking for typos that I maybe didn't notice, because there are so many, it's like impossible to find every typo yourself. It's just like a thing that happens. I don't know. I want to do a lot of things, and this is like a priority, but it's a priority in the sense that I would like this done by the end of the year. So I'll do another video at some point, maybe when I hit like the 10k mark. I reckon that's when everything starts to really happen. So I think that'll be the next time that I do a video like this. Until then, I might do a video of books that I either have read or want to read that I am using as like research, whether that's in writing or like specifically to the books. And I also want to do that reading vlog, and then maybe like a TBR video, just like little stuff. So it might be a while before I do another writing thing, but we'll see. And until then, bye!